Dear students, I welcome you all in this lecture series, and today we are going to talk about decentralization in India. Specifically, we are going to talk about decentralization of power in India. So we are going to look at this and let's see one by one. So first of all, as you can see, we are going to study about Indian tradition of decentralization. What kind of tradition we have, right? First, we have to look at past, that exactly what kind of centralization or decentralization is done in India. Okay, and afterwards we will look at exactly what kind of decentralized system we are having at present in India. Okay, so we will be looking at every point in detail. So first of all, let us see what exactly do we mean by decentralization of power. As you can see on the screen, the transfer of control of an activity or organization to several local offices or authorities rather than one single one. I will explain in detail. It simply means that whatever powers and authorities are available, those all powers will be distributed amongst various agencies, various organizations. In short, there will be no centralization of power. One person will not have all the powers. Or in return, we can say that there is very less scope to have a kind of authoritarian regime. In short, we can say when you have distribution of powers, when you have distribution of authorities, it also means that the democracy in the country is strengthening, right? The power, the capacity of democracy is strengthened and enhanced. Whereas in authoritarian regime, what happens over there? In authoritarian regimes, all powers are concentrated in the hands of one person, whether it is president or prime minister, or in short, we can say entire central government. Whereas in decentralization, you have something different. In decentralization, you have distribution of powers. You have divided the powers and given to respective bodies and respective agencies. Likewise, in India, we have three-tier system, right? First, we have central government, then we have state government, and lastly, we have local government. Okay, so these are the three levels: center, state, and local. Okay, so we are going to look at all these aspects one by one. When we talk about decentralization, it also means that we are going towards a kind of system to which we call direct democracy. In previous lectures, we have spoken in detail about direct and indirect democracy. So what do we mean by direct democracy? Where people themselves directly participate in decision-making activities. Okay, so the attempt, you can say, attempt to have decentralization is an example that we are going towards, or we are moving towards direct democracy. Okay, so we will be can say talking about that, and in short, we can say that we are achieving the direct democracy in real sense with the help of decentralization of powers and authorities. So decentralization is concerned with distribution of decision-making authority. What does it mean? That one person will not take all the decisions, or one agency will not take all the decisions. All these decisions and authorities will be given to various organizations, various hierarchical positions, wherein even the subordinates, those who are subordinate officers or workers in the government, they all will be having authority to take decision, right? Most of the time we see that decisions are taken at top level, right? All the time decisions are taken at the top level, and it is implemented by the subordinate officers or workers. Whereas decentralization, the concept of decentralization, it speaks about or talks about dividing these authorities. Okay, so one person who is at top of top position, he will not be overburdened or she will not be overburdened with this capacity. So in short, we can say that even the subordinate officer over the or the lower level or lower rank officer will also be able to take decision at his own or at her own position. Okay, so in this way we can say that complete authority or we can say decision making power is distributed from top to bottom. Okay, and therefore every person is empowered over here, right? And what are the benefits of that? When you divide the powers, when you decentralize decision making process, immediately it increases the speed of decision making. Initially we might have seen in you can say past, what was the thing? All decisions were supposed to be taken by the central government only. When there was no you can say local bodies or local government, majority of decisions were taken by central government and state government, and that's why they used to take longer time to take any decision on particular city or on particular districts. But now what we have done, we have established local bodies, local governments, wherein the decision about that district or about that particular city or village is being taken by that respective village, city and district itself. All the time now, you don't have to go to central government and take the permission. Now many things are there which are, I can say, given to local bodies, wherein local bodies themselves take decision. So you don't have to wait for state government or central government to approve your, you can say, decision. Now all these local bodies are being empowered, and this way we can say the real sense of democracy we are going to achieve in upcoming future. Secondly, what does it do is it reduces the burden of top officials. Right? If all decisions are to be taken by top officials only, so definitely they are going to have overburden, right? Because there are so many villages, lakhs of villages we have, so many districts, so many states. Just imagine the burden, right, on the top officials. So because of that reason, decentralization, the concept of decentralization has been introduced in Indian political system. Okay, so here we can say, in short, the burden is also reduced and efficiency is created, right? Because when there is overburden on can say over one person, so definitely it will take longer time for that one person to make or take decision, right? But if you have distributed to other people, if you have more people to take decision, then it will increase the speed of decision making, and definitely it will increase the efficiency of your administration. Okay, for that reason we have brought this kind of decentralization system. Thirdly, we can say that when you empower or when you give the power to your subordinate officers to take decision, okay, so we can say in short, there is a liberty to take decision, so that one person or subordinate officer is free to take decision. And when you give liberty to take decision, at that time that person take efficient decision, and he or she takes interest in his or her area. Okay, so in this way we can say that when you are giving power to someone, so definitely they are going to utilize it in proper way. Then only they are going to understand their responsibilities and their duties, and they can work more efficiently. Otherwise, what was the system initially? That only top officials were giving orders, and subordinate officers, they were just implementing the orders. So what will happen in this case? That the subordinates will not take interest in administration, because they consider themselves as just workers or employees, nothing else. If you are not giving authority to take decision to those people, so definitely they will think like we are just workers. We don't have to think much about the administration. We don't have any role, just we have to implement the things. That's all. But when you give authority to those subordinate officers, so definitely it changes their mind. Okay. It means what? Ultimately, they are empowered and they get authority, and in that way, they start thinking as part of administration, and they work more efficiently. Okay. So that's the reason due to which decentralization is most important in any democracy in the world. Last point that it talks about leadership. So definitely, with the help of this decentralization, we are empowering many people, right, from top to bottom. We are empowering many people to take decision. And in short, what does it mean? That you are creating or you are generating decision-making skills, right? You are, you can say, empowering your youth, or you are empowering your officers, and it will definitely lead to leadership, right? These all officers can rise themselves, or they can uplift themselves as the leader. And if there is leader in every section, so you can just imagine that there will be huge efficiency in every portfolio or every department or every ministry of the government. Okay, so that is the reason due to which decentralization is the most important thing. And as part of that decentralization itself, we have brought something called Panchayati Raj System. Okay, or in short, it is called as PRI, Panchayati Raj System. So we have to just look at the background and history of this PRIs. What is the background of Panchayat Raj system in India? See, first of all, it's not that Panchayat Raj or decentralization has been witnessed only in, we can say, modern world or modern era. It was present in British India also, post-independence also, and in British India also. And before that also there was, we can say, decentralization of powers. Now one can simply question that how is it possible? Because there was no, we can say, complete government for entire India. Like there was no one government for entire India before decentralized, before independence, right? So here we can say that even though there was no one government, but still decisions were taken by the local people themselves, to which we call panchayats, right? In every village they had panchayat. They used to take decision for their own villages, right? So internal matters of the villages were resolved by the villagers themselves. So those who were living in the villages, they used to form the panchayat, and they used to take the decision at that time also. So it was there in pre-independence also, and now we have in post-independence also. So this tradition is there since longer period of time. One most important point which is raised by Mahatma Gandhi is Mahatma Gandhi advocated Panchayati Raj system as the core foundation of India's political system, right? He was the person who strongly believed that the power should not be given to one agency or one authority. He said that these all powers should be distributed amongst people. These all powers should be given to all the peoples, all the villagers at local level, to which he used to call as Gram Swaraj. He had given a name called as Gram Swaraj. So in short, we can say he was focusing more on giving more power to the local bodies or panchayats or gram panchayats, right? Through which we can say these all bodies or these all panchayats will decide the future and fate of their villages and of their regions. Okay, so that's the most important point. But we have seen when India got independence, so we brought all together opposite system that of Mahatma Gandhi was speaking about. Mahatma Gandhi was speaking about decentralization and giving more power to, you can say, villages, right? And central government should have less powers. Whereas what we did, we have given different system, right? We have brought different system in which more powers are given to central government. After that, few powers are given to state governments, and local bodies have got very less powers. Okay, so altogether reverse system we brought. So sooner or later, the government of India understood that Mahatma Gandhi was somewhere correct, and if you want to achieve the real sense of democracy, we will have to give more power to local bodies, or we can say Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti. We will see all those agencies. So here Mahatma Gandhi was completely saying that every village should be responsible for its own affairs. Okay, that was his ideas and thoughts. Afterwards, the Panchayati Raj system was first adopted by the state of Bihar, right? Under the Bihar Panchayati Raj Act of 1947. Okay. In real sense, we all know that the Constitution of India was implemented in 1950. Okay. From that time onward, the Constitution of India has been implemented, right? Complete Constitution of India has been implemented, and since then we are following the Constitution. But before that itself, the state of Bihar took the decision under India's, we can say, that Panchayati Raj system, and in which they decided that we will be having local bodies or local government in that state. So that was the first state to take decision at that time, when there was, we can say, a complete constitution was not implemented. So and later it was implemented in Rajasthan, okay, known as Nagaur district. There is a district called as Nagaur district in Rajasthan, and on, we can say, 2nd of October 1959, the government of Rajasthan decided to bring local bodies or Panchayati Raj system in Rajasthan. So in this way, Rajasthan became the first state to introduce Panchayati Raj system in India after independence. Okay, I'm talking about after independence. So this way, Rajasthan became the first state to bring or implement Panchayati Raj system in India. Now we can say various committees were formed, various committees were established, and one of them and most important committee was Balwant Rai Mehta Committee. Okay, Balwant Rai Mehta Committee was appointed in the year 1957 to give suggestions, right? And that committee gave the most important suggestion that the democratic decentralization should be done in India. Okay, what do you mean by democratic decentralization? Decision-making authority should be divided. Decision-making authority should be transferred to subordinate bodies and subordinate officers. So that kind of decision, or we can say recommendation, was given by Balwant Rai Mehta Committee. This committee is very important, and it is well-known committee. So you all should remember the name of this committee whenever you talk about or whenever you hear about Panchayati Raj system in India. And this afterwards led to the establishment of three-tier Panchayati Raj system. Okay, three-tier Panchayati Raj system means what? There will be three levels: first level, second level, and third levels in decision-making process. So we will see that in next slide. So finally, on 24th April 1993, the constitutional amendment, which we call 73rd constitutional amendment was passed, right, in 1992, and it was implemented. Okay, so we can say in short, as you can see, I will take the video slightly up here. It came into force in the year 1992. Okay, sorry. So the act was passed in 1992 and it was implemented in the year 1993. So that was, we can say, all about the background and history of Panchayati Raj system in India. So once this 73rd amendment was passed, afterwards, immediately now, all states were eligible and all states were empowered, right? Or we can say in short, it was a kind of binding, right? It was a kind of binding on all the states to establish local bodies, to which we call Panchayati Raj system. So you have to remember the number also. It was 73rd amendment, which was, we can say, brought in the year 1992 and implemented in the year 1993. So this was entire background of Panchayati Raj system. Now let's have a look at what kind of system we have in India. So Panchayati Raj system is what? It is a kind of system of local self-government of villages in rural India. Now you can remember this word, local self-government. Self-government means what? These people themselves will run their own government. Okay? The people who are there in villages, the people who are there in, can say, taluka or tehsil, or to which we call block also, and in district, these all people will take decision themselves. Central government will not interfere in their decision making unless and until it is constitutional. If it goes beyond constitution, then definitely central government will interfere, state government will also interfere. So for that reason only, we can say center is there to keep watch, but all these, we can say, villages, all those blocks and districts are now independent to take decision for the development of their region. Okay. So these all, we can say, Panchayati Raj bodies, they are tasked with economic development. We all know economic development, right? Like construction of many other things. We can say infrastructural development, providing employment to the people in that region, right? Creating or doing welfareistic schemes, bringing various schemes from center and state, right? So strengthening social justice. Now, what do you mean by strengthening social justice? Villages, or we can say panchayats, will ensure that the discrimination will not be done with anyone on any ground in the village. Okay, so that's the most important point. When you talk about, can say, social justice, we have to keep in mind that it's all about society, and injustice will not be done with anyone, and every person will get equal treatment. It does not matter which religion he or she belongs to, which caste they belong to, which creed or category they belongs to. Irrespective of all those things, every person shall get respective life, right? Respectable life, and afterwards they will not be discriminated on any ground, right? This way, the social justice will be maintained in the village, or to which we call social harmony will be maintained in particular village. So these were, we can say, not only social justice, even implementation of central and state government schemes is the most important task of these panchayats, right? When you bring any policy, right, time to time central government and state government, they introduce many schemes for the downtrodden section and we can say ordinary people, and those schemes are implemented properly by these panchayats, okay, or by these local bodies, right? So these, we can say, provisions for Panchayati Raj system has been made in part 9 of the Indian Constitution. Remember, there are so many parts of Indian Constitution, and one of them is Part 9, according to which we can say all these provisions to deal with Panchayat Raj system are mentioned in Part 9 of the Indian Constitution. So now let's see the three levels. Which are those three levels in which these Panchayat Raj systems are available or functioning? First of all, village level. Okay. First of all, village level is there, in which Gram Panchayat can be seen, right? Gram Panchayat is there at village level, and they are empowered to take decisions at village level. Afterwards, you have Panchayat Samiti at block level. Right? Block means Tehsil or Taluka. So at this block level, Panchayat Samiti is there to take decision for that particular Tehsil or block. And lastly, we have Zilla Parishad, right? Zilla Parishad, which is available at district level. Zilla Parishad is there at district level, which is, you can say, empowered or tasked to take decisions at district level. So this way we have three levels. First is village, second is block, and third is district. And names are Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti, and last is Zilla Parishad. Okay, so these are the three bodies, or we can say the core pillars of Panchayat Raj system in India, which are functioning very well, and in future also it will be empowered more and it will be given more powers, and in short or slowly and steadily these local bodies will emerge as the core pillars of Indian democracy. Okay, so therefore we should have faith in it and we should participate actively in the functioning and processes and you can say activities of Panchayat Raj system in India. So as last point says that present Panchayat Raj system was introduced in India by 73rd constitutional amendment in 1993. Okay, so it was implemented in the year 1993, and since then onward almost every state is having all these three bodies. Okay, Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti, and Zilla Parishad. So this was complete scenario, this was complete picture of Panchayat Raj system. I hope you got some knowledge out of this, and I thank you for listening peacefully. Thank you.